Our speaker for the hour, our speaker for 8 to 10 minutes, Solomon Wilkins. He's a motivational speaker, business consultant, success coach, and author. His passion for developing leaders has put him on a personal crusade to empower young people with tools, tips, and techniques to pursue life with passion, purpose, and power. In high school, he was labeled with a learning disability, but refused to be another statistic. Please help me welcome my friend and author of Elevate Your Student Leadership, Mr. Solomon Wilkins.
Before I get started, I just want to say, Alan, you just put a whole lot of pressure on me, man. As I was sitting there listening to him, I was like, good job, good job. But at the same time, slow down a little bit. So parents, friends, everybody here, do me a favor, please, and give the graduating class of 2015 a round of applause. For some of you, because I went to community college too, I went to Mirror Community College. For some of you, I know it was tough for you to be at this place. For some of you, you had to catch the bus to be here. You had to borrow cars to be here. Some of you had to catch Uber to be here. You had to walk to get here. You may even have had to hitchhike to get here. But it's well worth it now. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here. So graduation can be a funny time, it can be a scary time. It can be a time of independence and uncertainty. I remember when I was graduating from Mirror Community College, I remember when they called my name, I was so proud. I remember thinking to myself, man, I can't wait to walk across this stage. I'm out of here, I've spent 4 years in community college. I can't wait to leave. I don't want to be here anymore. I never want to see this person again. And I remember when I walked across the stage, they said, Solomon Wilkins, and I said, yes. Put my chest back, I walked across the stage to get my degree. And when I reached out to shake his hand, he whispered in my ear and he said, you still have 2 classes left. I don't know if that's happened to any of you guys. But it's a really frustrating thing to hear. So some of you are probably asking, who is this Solomon Wilkins guy and why did they ask him to speak at the black graduation? Well, let me tell you guys a little bit about who I am. I grew up not too far from here in Oakland. I grew up in a household with 2 parents. I had a mom and a dad, but I grew up as an only child. A lot of people like to say I was spoiled. We didn't have a lot to spoil me with, so I was spoiled with love. But at 9 years old, everything changed. At 9 years old, my father was killed in a drive-by shooting. At 9 years old, you really don't understand death. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to feel. And at 15 years old, as a sophomore at Oakland Tech, I was labeled with ADHD. When I got home, my mother gave me the best news of my life. She said, son, so what do you think about ADHD? I said, I don't know. I guess I got a learning disability. She said, no, you don't. I don't care what nobody tells you. I don't care what labels they put on you. At the end of the day, never let somebody else's perception of you become your reality. Before I ever heard a speaker say, so like Dr. Wilson said, I don't have a lot of time. So after I graduated from Mirror, I got a basketball scholarship to Humboldt State University. So I played at Humboldt State University. I spent 3.5 years at Mirror. I spent 4 years at Humboldt State University. You do the math, you put some summers in. I spent 8 years in college, and I don't have a master's degree. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but one thing I'll tell you, nobody in this crowd, nobody that I've ever came across, nobody that I know will outwork me. Bottom line. Since I graduated from college, I've worked in 2 different corporate positions. I've written a book. I've started my own company. I don't tell you this stuff to brag. I'm just a dude from Oakland, but I live with a purpose that's so passionate, nobody will stop me from getting to where I'm trying to go. I'm here to teach you the same thing. What I've done is I've broken down the word leader, into 6 different characteristics. L-E-A-D-E-R. I'm going to run through them real brief. And I want to ask you some questions, and feel free to throw some answers out there. The L. So what happened to the love that we used to have in our communities? Right? When do we get to the point to where we start loving each other again? And I'm not talking about some average everyday love. I'm talking about genuine love, where we compliment each other, where we see each other, we're nice to each other, where we're smiling at each other, where we're excited to be in front of each other. What happened to that kind of love? When I was little, I could go knock on my neighbor's door, they would open the door, they would feed me, and they would send me back home. What happened to that love? Where did it go? We are responsible for recreating it. But watch this. When you start loving on each other, I promise you, when you start caring about people, do me a favor real quick. Look at the person to the next, to the left and to the right. You tell them real quick you appreciate them so we can move on. Person to the left, person to the right. Watch this. Once we learn how to love each other, how to reconnect with each other, you realize something's missing. So you start to eat. You start to educate yourself. Right? Why are we healed right now? Because everybody here has educated themselves and they're graduating. Yes. So when I'm talking about education, not only am I talking about books, I'm talking about audio series. I'm talking about personal development seminars. I'm talking about each and every one of you, and you too positioning yourself to be better than the generations before you. So watch this. We're loving each other. We're educating ourselves. The next thing you're going to want to do when you start educating yourself, you got all this knowledge in your brain, you're going to start taking action. All right. Right? So growing up in East Oakland, I used to go catch tadpoles in a park called a Royal Park. Tadpoles and frogs in a Royal Park. Every Saturday and Sunday, me and my cousin used to catch all these tadpoles at a Royal Park. And if you know anything about frogs, they can jump between 3 and 7 feet. Frogs don't jump vertical, they jump horizontal. Guess what my mother went and did? My mother went and bought me a 2 foot long by 2 foot wide fish bowl. I said, Mama, that's not big enough. They jump 3 to 7 feet. She said, boy, that's all the money I got. Work with that. So I would still put my frogs in this 2 foot long by 2 foot wide container, right? So the frogs, when I put them in, they think they can still jump 3 to 7 feet. So they would jump, hit their head. They would jump again, hit their head. They would jump again, hit their head. And guess what would happen? Those frogs would have babies. Those babies would be born in that same environment. They would jump and hit their head, jump and hit their head, jump and hit their head. And then those babies would have babies. And then you had 3 generations from your grandparents to the parents to the kids that were born in these living environments, Oakland, California. And they would limit themselves because their environment they were in wouldn't allow them to grow. I'm challenging each and every one of you here to take action on every single dream that you've ever dreamed of, because at the end of the day, don't allow your environment to dictate the outcome of your life. You've already set the precedent. Now it's time to take it to the next level. Whatever that next level is. So now we're loving on each other. We're educating ourselves. We're taking action. The more you take action, the more you're going to know. The more you know, you start being more dependable. As a leader, if you're not dependable, if you're not a person of your word, nobody will trust anything you have to say. I'm talking about stuff that will transform your community. The reason I know it, because everything I'm telling you, I've lived it. I travel all across the world speaking in the college market, speaking in corporations. And once again, I don't tell you this to brag. I'm just a dude from Oakland. If they only knew what I've been through. Right? But at the end of the day, I understand how to lead. I understand how to love my people. I understand that I need to educate myself. I take action every single day when you wake up. If you don't do anything, do something to move you closer to your goals. I understand how to take action. I'm dependable. You can count on me. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Once you start doing all these things, watch this. If you eat, if you empower the people you're leading to do the exact same thing, imagine if you empowered everybody you were leading to love each other, to educate themselves, to take action, to be more dependable. We would get the R. We would get the respect and the results that will transform our communities. I want you guys to repeat after me before I get out of here. Say it with your chest. Y'all know the rest. I can. I can. No. Say it like you mean it, please. I can. I can. I will. I will. I can. I can. I will. I will. Congratulations to the class of 2016.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkins. Merritt College Class 83. Watch out.